To the Foreign Affairs Minister Penny Wong joins us live from a Yes event in Adelaide. A difficult night for many supporters of the Yes campaign. Where do you see this going now? Where does the Prime Minister need to take the nation, and how can he help heal the nation after a very divisive campaign, Minister?
Oh, look, that is, I think, an important question, and then I think we do need to work together, and leaders need to bring people together. We need to heal, and I know that the Prime Minister, Albanese, will be very focused on making sure he does everything he can to bring Australia together. I mean, we remember that we might be yes voters and no voters, but ultimately we're all Australians.
Do you think, in hindsight, there should have been more done to try and secure bipartisanship? We know the golden rule in referenda. No referenda in our history has passed without bipartisanship. Was that hubris from the government in hindsight? Do you think that there should have been more focus in trying to bring the coalition with you?
I think there was a lot of focus on trying to bring the coalition with us, and previous Liberal leaders have given this bipartisan support, and Mr Dutton decided that he could do better politically if he didn't give this bipartisan support. And as you said, no referendum has succeeded without that bipartisan support. But one thing I would say is there was no one in this campaign advocating that we shouldn't close the gap, and there was actually no one in this campaign advocating that we shouldn't listen. And so the task now for us all is respect the result, accept the result, and as a country chart a new way forward on that path to reconciliation, because it does matter.
Oh, it matters enormously, doesn't it, to get some progress there. It's a huge discrepancy between the life expectancy and right across the board, education, everything. But when the Prime Minister says he's a conviction politician, are there moments where you have to just say, OK, that was a promise, but this is going to be a train wreck? Was there a moment where he might have thought, I should have shelved the referendum?
Let's remember the history of this. This ask from Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander leaders, which is supported by the majority of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, came to us in 2017. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander leaders asked this Prime Minister, as Leader of the Opposition, to make a commitment to put this question to the Australian people. And Anthony Albanese gave his commitment, and he also gave a commitment to the Australian people at the last election. So he is a man of decency and a man with the courage of his convictions, and a man who keeps his word. And he kept his word, and that is why we have had the referendum, as he promised, both Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander leaders, but the broader Australian community.
Penny Wong, it's Andrew Clennell here. How are you? Where does the government's approach on Indigenous affairs go now? And why is the result in your state such a disaster? Because it's one of the states recording the biggest no's. What happened there?
Well, look, let's wait and see what the result is at the end of the night for South Australia. But I want to answer your first question because I think it is a really important question. And I again go back to the point, I understand there are a lot of people who are very hurt and very disappointed by what happened tonight, but no one voted, or no one campaigned against closing the gap, and no one campaigned against listening. And what we do have is, I think, a very great focus on the extent of the disadvantage that our First Nations people face. And the task ahead is for us to come together and chart a new path forward. I don't yet know what that will be, but it is something as a country, we can do together.
And in terms of our international reputation, there have been some suggestions that the world is watching and it could be an adverse reaction. How will you take this result to the international stage to I guess, make the case for what this country is, given the vast bulk of people who voted no. We're not talking about racists in this country. We're talking about people who had concerns about the question, the lack of detail and so on.
You're right. I think there were a lot of different reasons why people voted no to this constitutional change. Look, in relation to the international reputation issue that's been raised, my answer to that's been consistent. You know, I advocated, along with many people, for a yes vote here because I thought it was the right thing for the country. And I also made the point, yeah, of course, a country that is more united is stronger in the world. And what is important now is to try and work, all of us, to bring people together. And I regret that Mr Dutton's focus has been on so much negativity, and I know that Prime Minister Albanese will be very focused on our government and all leaders working together to bring people together.
Minister, I just wanted to ask too, while we've got you, your office has confirmed a couple of the evacuation flights for Australians out of Israel have now been cancelled. What likelihood that they will resume, because today's and tomorrow's are now cancelled? And how concerned are you about the situation on the ground for Australians there over the next week or so?
This is, I know, very distressing news, and I was spent a lot of time with on the phones today to see if there was any way we could find alternatives. I understand how distressing this is for people. Unfortunately, these flights were not able to proceed as we had originally hoped. The situation on the ground is obviously very volatile, and it is changing rapidly. We have obviously a crisis response team on the ground from DFAT, the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, and other agencies. We have stood up a crisis centre. We are engaging with Australians in both Israel but also in Gaza who have registered, and I again remind people to please register, please stay in communication, and please ensure that you keep yourself appraised of any developments. We will continue to contact you as we can, and we will keep working to try and ensure additional flights. We've obviously had overnight a Qantas plane did exit Tel Aviv and get to London. I think some 800 plus Australians have now left Israel, but I know that there are many more people who are seeking to leave, and I can assure you that the government and officials are working as hard as they can and as we can to arrange flights and to get flights in.
Foreign Minister Penny Wong, thanks very much for your time. Appreciate it.